All right, what's up, y'all? We're back at it again with another week, another episode of the Diaspora Life podcast. Today we actually have a guest on, but first of all, let's do the intro right quick. My name is Mr. Delicacy,
I'm 281 Mo.
and we together make up the Diaspora Life podcast, where we talk about issues that are going on with people of color around the world. Today we're going to be focusing on Cameroon, what's good, the atrocities that's going on in Cameroon. But real quick, I'm gonna do the just ask portion of the podcast where we talk about where I ask a question and we just think about our response and things like that. So the question today is, since we were joined by an African dude and we have a Caribbean dude here, what I want to ask is, do y'all think that African and black are the same thing or two different things?
Well, who goes first? I'll let Brian go first, and I'll respond.
All right.
All right. You want me to go first?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So I'm going to just go ahead and say that black people wouldn't be black without Africa.
Yeah.
And African people aren't not black. I know double negatives aren't grammatically correct, but, African people are black as well,
Yeah.
Like, just, if we were to stand in the line here
Mm-hmm.
and we were to tell somebody else who's from Africa, who's from the Caribbean, and who's from America, and don't say anything, just stand there and shut up.
Yeah.
They're gonna not know where we're from, if they don't know who we are before we stand up in that line. So at the end of the day, we're gonna be unfortunately judged by the color of our skin and not exactly where we're from. I'm not saying that, Africans don't have it harder here because, there's certain things that you guys have to go through as far as immigration and stuff, but the Caribbean also has to deal with that,
True.
The African Americans that are here don't have to deal with that kind of immigration type stuff, but they also are subjugated to other kinds of systemic oppressions. So, at the end of the day, everybody has a struggle. We all come from the same place originally, but, we ended up where we are, and we have our cultures based on, that placement.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Our guest.
Repeat the question one more time.
All right. So the question was, do you guys think being African and being black, or do you guys think African and black are the same thing?
Yeah. So I think about it like squares and rectangles.
Mm-hmm.
So like black is a bigger subset, and African. So African would be like a square. So squares are rectangles, but not rectangles are squares. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So a lot of times people use black synonymously for only Black Americans,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't include other subsets or types of Black people within that classification.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, we all, like Brian said, if we were to line us all up, of course, maybe our clothes might be a giver,
Mm-hmm.
but unless you're familiar with the cultures or all that, you will not be able to tell the difference because we all come from this place.
Okay, so like for me, right, the way I think about it, right, is that I see it as we're completely different. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is that what separates each and every one of us, right? Let's say in the Hispanic culture, right? What separates an El Salvadorian from a Colombian or something like that? More than geography is their culture. It's completely different. What they eat, how it's completely different, right? And I feel like at a point in time, whenever like black people stopped being African when they came over, is the way I see it. You know what I'm saying? Like whenever the Africans that came from Africa, they came over here, right? They adopted the American culture. Whether they liked it or not, they did. You know what I'm saying? They adopted the American culture. They lost their language, their heritage, a lot of their culture, and things like that. So I feel like I feel like we're not the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if somebody were to call me black, I feel like I feel like I'm appropriating their culture, right? Because my family never had to go through slavery. My family never had to go through the things that their family had to go through. You know what I'm saying? My first language isn't American English. It's my native language. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like we're completely and like my friend here, Brian Maurice, my partner in this thing. His parents are Caribbean, but he was born in America. You know what I'm saying? So and I would consider him Caribbean American. I wouldn't even consider him black. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like we're completely different. I don't see
Wait,
how.
so if you had a child that was born here, Jason, you yourself, that child would no longer be African?
He would be African American. A
Right.
black person is like generations over, like generations removed from the African nation, is the way I see it. You know what I'm saying? It's like hundreds of years down the line. If I have a child, my child has a grandchild, I would consider them African American. But if African American, but if like let's say I don't know 100 years down the line, I would we're still here. You know, we're not connected to the culture or connected to the African culture. We're not practicing the African culture. Then I mean, they'd be blind.
I mean, but nowadays things are different because we have planes, we have the internet, we have FaceTime, and all these things. We go back and forth. I go back and forth to Haiti and Guyana, so a lot of that culture is still instilled in me.
Yeah.
I haven't grown up per se in those countries or were raised in those countries, but my parents still passed that culture to me, and I still plan to pass that culture down to my kids. So, I would say that kind of thing doesn't really die unless you completely Americanize yourself.
Yes.
Which to me, there's not really too much of an American culture. I would say that African Americans have their own subculture.
True.
Here in America, like black culture is its own kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But all that kind of stuff, black culture in itself, is a conglomerate of all our cultures that come from different countries, and the slave ancestors of the black Americans here and in the Caribbean.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. I still like using black as synonymous with black American rather than just like black in general. Just because like again we're all black, and like you do make a good point. We do come from different countries that makes us different, but we're still classified under the same skin color. That makes sense, regardless of our cultures. But that doesn't negate the fact that African cultures, even just not African in general, different countries within Africa, Nigerian, Cameroon culture are different. But it's not negating the fact that we're all black.
But why would Africans, right? Me and you, why would Africans be considered black, right? Because black is a term that really just came about the last 400 years, right?
Black is your skin color, but it's not your ethnicity.
Okay, I mean, I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like
or black is not your ethnicity, but it's your skin color. Like we all black, but we have different ethnicities. Like you're Nigerian. Our brother here is from Cameroon. I'm Haitian and Guyanese.
I just feel like it would be weird. I feel weird if somebody were to call me black, because I just feel like being black, right, is technically, really, if we look at it in a time span, it's a new term. You know what I'm saying? It's maybe like the past 400 years, 500 years, because of the Africans that were displaced. Africans have been here since the beginning of time, right? You know what I'm saying? So like you can't. I don't know what I'm trying. Like I feel like you can't. Like I don't know how to explain it.
I see what you're saying, but at the same time, like you can't say I'm not black, I'm African. That's like
yes. What do you
mean? That's a contradictory statement. Like because you like
if this was 1960, you'd be saying I'm not a Negro, I'm African.
because I feel like a black person is somebody that was an African that was displaced. You know what I'm saying? A black person in America is somebody, an African that was taken from Africa, brought to America. And Haiti, in Haitians, you know what I'm saying? They're considered black because they're Africans that were displaced. But my family was never displaced. So why would I be considered black if my family was never displaced? We made the conscious choice to move over here.
I tell you why. Because we're not black because we're immigrants or because we were slaves. We're black because of our skin color, of the melanin, because of our genetics, you know? That's what we mean by black. We're not saying that, you're from here, you're from there.
Yeah.
That's just our roots.
They're like saying Africans and Black Americans are two different races. because black is the race, but we have different ethnicities. I think that's where the contradiction is.
So you're saying that black. So you're saying that African isn't a race, or I don't understand.
African isn't a race. Is basically what I'm saying. African isn't even an ethnicity. The country you're from, that's your ethnicity. Yeah. So I would identify as Cameroonian American because I was born here in America, but my family is all from Cameroon. I'm the first generation. Cameroonian American, that's what I identify as. But I would still identify as black because that's the race I am, which doesn't negate my ethnicity. As someone who was born here without Cameroonian parents would identify as a black American as their ethnicity because that's where the cultural roots are within America. At least to their knowledge.
Okay, I mean, I understand. I mean, because my whole let's take like Hispanic people once again, right? There's like Mexicans that have been in Texas because Texas was, originally a Mexican, state. Originally they've been in Texas for years, right? And they're known as Tex-Mex. You know what I'm saying? But these Tex-Mex, I mean, it's not that they're not considered Mexican, you know what I'm saying? But they're called Tex-Mex. That's their grouping or their naming or something like that.
Or I think a better term would be Latinx. That's what they call
Latinx. You know what I'm saying? But when Mexicans come, like the Mexicans that are like just coming from Mexico would consider them Tex-Mex. They wouldn't call them Mexican, or so they would consider them Tex-Mex, right? So in that same scenario is the reason why I'm like, y'all win.
Yeah, because I'm gonna say I have friends who actually I can't really name too many first generation Americans honestly that are even Latino because I know so many people who are immigrants to this country. Literally, they're the first people to come here from their family.
Yeah, and
I'm one of my me and maybe a few of my other friends were the first generation actually born here. All of our parents are immigrants as well. Mm-hmm. So their kids and their kids aren't going to stop identifying as their, grandparents' ethnicity. At the end of the day, I'm always going to be a Haitian American and a Guyanese American, So, the person that's grandparents moved here and they had their parents and their parents had them, I don't think they're going to be like, oh, no, I'm not Mexican now. I'm just a Latino American.
Yeah. I mean, I always thought it was because I've had this conversation with multiple people and it's turned into arguments, right? And I think I've talked about this with you before, Maurice, but it's always turned into arguments because they see it as me, especially when I'm trying to talk about it with black people. They see it as, are you trying to look down upon the fact that I'm black? You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, I'm not trying to say I'm looking down upon. I'm just recognizing the fact that we have multiple differences in our culture, the way we are, what we do, how we speak. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I don't know.
I think what they might be trying to say is, brother, do you know that you are black too?
I don't know, because so we go to University of Houston, right? And even in University of Houston, we have a Black Student Association, but I just felt like it's different. You know what I'm saying? When Africans come together or when foreign people come, it's different. It's a different mindset kind of thing. So I was like, I'm gonna go and create African Student Association. So I did that, and it was cool. It was nice. It was flourishing for a minute till this coronavirus come done. That messed everything up. But besides that, I don't know. I think it's interesting I think it's important to recognize, differences in culture without blending everything together. You know what I'm saying? Because if we don't recognize our differences, then it's like let's take white people for a second. For white people, majority of them don't know where they're from. You know what I'm saying? They don't really have a culture. They just kind of take other people's culture and make it their own, add salt to it, and that's pretty much, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and that's kind of sad, honestly, because they don't know they don't know themselves really. And so identifying the differences is very important so we don't lose what we have, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that's important. It's important to recognize your culture and have your cultural pride.
Yeah.
But I don't think that should keep us separate.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm just ended off with this point is a story. So backtrack 2005.
Yeah.
Family friend was coming in from Cameroon to meet. Well, I guess he's technically my uncle.
Okay.
I don't know if she's my aunt, but you know how African family. So she's my aunt. So this is my uncle coming in.
Yeah.
So he came in the country. This is like the third month in the country, and she's waiting outside for her to come back from the store, or whatever. He doesn't have the keys to get in.
Okay.
So he was in the sidewalk. He was looking at the window, see if anybody was home, and he was going outside. Somebody called the police on him.
Oh wow.
So when the police came up, pretty much the police killed him and put a weapon on him. And yeah, they planted a weapon on him and tried to say that it was up to him, like it was his fault. He tried to attack him with a box cutter.
What?
So yeah, that was my first protest. It was like we all protested. We walked to the police station, but nothing happened.
Yeah.
The police person who shot him, I think they're still doing police work. So I brought that up to say, like, at the end of the day, they're not going to be like, oh, wait, he's African. Let me not shoot him. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. He's cool. He's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same. Like, I know it's important, and it's very important to appreciate cultural differences.
Yeah.
Which is also another reason why there's a rift between the African American community and the African community, because we don't appreciate each other's differences. But at the end of the day, when we're talking about the bigger overarching thing that unites, it is that we are one race. We are like brothers, but we grew up in different cultures.
Oh, okay. What, you were born in Cameroon?
No, I was born here.
Oh, okay. That meant, I was like, his accent is pretty decent. Okay. Okay. All right. So thank y'all for participating in that. So the main topic, well, we have two topics that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about this election that's going on, but since you have to leave early, we got to talk about the Cameroon. What's going on in Cameroon? Introduce yourself first. Let the people know who you are, what you do, and just let us know what's going on in Cameroon, man.
Got you. I just texted my boss when it started. She just responded back. That's why you heard that ding.
Oh, okay.
She moved the meeting back 30 minutes, so I'm good for the whole hour.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. All right, yeah.
So I'll introduce myself. My name is Makunde. I'm the president of the Cameroon campaign, trying to bring awareness to what's going on in Cameroon and with the Anglophone crisis.
Okay.
And I guess we'll elaborate more on that later, but that's all for my introduction.
Okay. All right. So yeah, because I've been hearing stuff I've been hearing things going on in Cameroon, and I want to understand, because from what I understand, from what I've been hearing, people, Anglophones or something, are being targeted. Just explain what's going on so we can talk about it.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna give the rundown. Basically, this conflict. So there is a difference between the Anglophone problem and the Anglophone crisis. So I'm gonna explain the Anglophone problem, which led up to the Anglophone crisis.
Okay.
So this dates back to around the 1961.
Okay.
So originally there was two Cameroons. There was British Cameroon and there was French Cameroon.
Okay.
French Cameroon got its independence in like 1960, I believe. And when British Cameroon came around to get its independence in 1961, they had the option of either choosing Nigeria or other Cameroon to join with.
Okay.
So the north part of British Cameroon joined Nigeria, and the southern part of British Cameroon joined Cameroon.
Okay.
No, that's why some people refer to the northwest and southwest regions, as we know today, as the southern Cameroons. Okay. So when they first joined, they joined as a federation, meaning that they both had equal power within the government system. So the first president, Amadou Ahidjo, changed the constitution, I believe in 1972, to from a federation to a republic, meaning that now they pretty much abolished the federal system, and that region lost power. And mind you, 80% of the country is French-speaking, 20% is English-speaking. So there are a lot of discrepancies in how the government was handled, because there was very favoritism of the French-speaking side. For example, there wasn't as much schools or roads built in the Anglophone regions. And a country that's supposed to be bilingual, there's a lot of people who don't understand English, and an English speaker can't really navigate outside of their own region. A lot of government documents are not written in English and French, and the list goes on. So in 1996, the people of Northwest and Southwest Cameroon rallied to get the constitution changed back to a federal system, and there were minor changes, but ultimately their concerns were not addressed. So that was an Anglophone problem, and it was still going over. So now we fast forward to 2016. 2016, a peaceful protest organized by lawyers and teachers took place in Northwest, and I forgot where it took place. I think it was Northwest or Southwest. I forgot which one. But it took place in the Anglophone regions. And I know I didn't give context. Anglophone just means you speak English. But in Cameroon, it kind of just describes what region you're from too. So you can even be a Francophone, but you identify as Anglophone because you're from an Anglophone region and vice versa. So,
quick question. So the Anglophones don't speak French, right? Their language is English.
Anglophones, a lot of Anglophones speak French and English.
Okay.
So basically, so like Anglophone just means that it's kind of like at least in Cameroon, it just means that that's the region you're from. So if you identify as an Anglophone, that usually means you're from the Northwest or the Southwest regions or Cameroon. And if you say you're a Francophone, you're from one of the other 8 regions of Cameroon. But a lot of the people who are Anglophones or Francophones can know both languages. So 2016, the peaceful protest was organized, and the government didn't take too kindly to that. So their response to the peaceful protest for them to, give more money to the economies of these regions, give more money to the schools, build more roads, have more job opportunities. Those are the things that people were originally marching for. When instead for them to, mediate, try to talk, they cut off the internet for 3 months, 3 whole months. And think about it, like, what would you do without Twitter for 3 months? Or Instagram or any of that for 3 whole months?
They cut off their internet for 3 months?
They cut off the internet for 3 months.
So there was no Wi-Fi, no data, no nothing, or was it just like censorship of certain websites?
To my knowledge, there's just nothing.
Jesus Christ!
Like no activity.
That sounds awful.
What?
Yeah.
For a peaceful protest? That's insane. I'm okay. I'm gonna let you continue.
That's censorship to the next level.
Yes, bro. That is some
and that's
North Korea censorship. Okay, continue. Yeah.
No problem. That's why it was hard for, at least at first, for things to be broadcasted, things were going on, just because there was no internet, so nobody could post it. But this is not when the protests got violent. This was still when it was relatively peaceful, but this 3 months of no internet really radicalized people. And a lot of people didn't want a federation anymore. Now they wanted to create their own state called Ambazonia. This doesn't represent everybody, but this represents a lot of the opposition that is fighting them, that, when the crisis eventually escalates. So they also imposed a curfew on people, and then people started to demonstrate. Then 40 people were killed in mass demonstrations. So after these 40 people were killed, that was pretty much what escalated it, and people took up arms to fight back. So this is what started the Anglophone crisis. Some classify it as somewhat of a civil war between the Amba boys, which is what they call the Ambazonian fighters, and the government. So that's pretty much the basis of the crisis. But this is the more complex part of the crisis. Is over time, the Amba boys became more and more disjointed, and they themselves started to commit atrocities just like the government does. So pretty much the people who are paying for this are the civilians, because over 1 million people had to flee the area because nobody's safe. Like, they're not protected by the government, and they're not protected by a lot of the Amba boy fighters because they kidnap people for ransom sometimes in order to get money to fund the war. They are able to levy taxes in certain areas and pretty much abuse the power. That's pretty much an overview of what's going on.
Okay, so just a few questions. One, so why was it that because all this stuff is being done against the Anglophone? So why was it? You said that the Anglophones, right? It's because if you're considered Anglophone, it shows where you're from. Is that correct? Is that That's the
Yeah.
assumption. Okay, so but why was it chosen? Why were they chosen to be like to be like prejudiced against? I don't know how to explain it. Like, why was it them? You know what I'm saying? That was. Is it because they speak English? Like, what? Why was it? Why was it that like in America, black people were chosen because it was black people. You know what I'm saying? So why was it them that was chosen? Is essentially my question. You know?
Um, That's a good question. I think it really just goes into like control and political power. Okay, so because Northwest and Southwest regions account for I think like 80% of like the economy. They have a lot of natural resources and things like that.
Okay.
So under a federation system, they're able to better control those resources. But when you change it to a republic, now these resources can go wherever easier, and they can allocate it towards where the actual government officials may be living in. So you'll see a lot of more developed areas over there where maybe the government is living rather than someone who lives in like a Northwest village because, so I think that was the origination of it. And then because of that, it became a lot of, animosity between the government and the people
Okay.
because of that happening.
God damn, this is.
Oh, you're muted.
It's yeah. So I don't want to mess up your thing, but like that's it's insane because I mean one thing I do want to preface before this is that Cameroon has just been independent for what 60 years. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people, especially in America, they look down on African countries because there's all these third world problems going on. Most African countries haven't been independent for longer than like our parents have been alive. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, there's still a lot of growing to do, but that's just insane, man. I
Yeah, I think also something to reference too, like for why there's so much unrest and why there's a lot of corruption too, is a lot of these nations that gain independence, much like Haiti and other countries that are considered some of the poorest countries in the world, is that whenever they first gained their independence, a lot of these white nations and countries issued sanctions and banned trading with these countries so they couldn't, make any money, have any money coming in. So these countries just became really poor. You
exactly.
know, they didn't have any means for survival among the world's markets. They were considered, beneath them even after they had gained their independence. So I think that's to blame as well, and that's why a lot of Black Americans and I think a lot of Black people around the world should be looking for reparations.
Okay. Or
I
you can
agree.
yeah. Yeah, you were gonna say
Um,
something?
yeah, I was going to build upon what Brian just last said. So, like, in addition to that, I feel like a lot of independence was a sham. So, kind of designed in order for them to, drain the resources without getting a bad PR about it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. So, well, we can even look at an example like the Democratic Republic of Congo and the so I think Belgium used to have like a strong presence in there, and Lumumba was pretty much like Congo should be for the people. I believe in Congo does not rely on Belgium,
Yeah.
and pretty much control the media in order to paint him as a villain, and they're able to get him out of office, and then eventually assassinated, and then they replaced him with somebody, I forgot who his successor was, but replaced him with somebody that could control. And that's the thing with a lot of the leaders. Like a lot of these leaders were handpicked by colonizers because they know they can control and they know their best interest is not for serving the people, but
Mm-hmm.
remaining in power and getting riches for as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing Brian touched on was like trading. And I use this reference all the time. So like I'm thinking like in the 1960s, China was still somewhat a developing nation,
Mm-hmm.
but they're able to have complete control over their own economy and trade with whoever they want,
Mm-hmm.
and do whatever with limited foreign intervention. And now, like you've seen over time, 1960 to now, there's a huge difference in China.
Yeah.
And now, while China's government is still very controversial at large, but their economy, at least, now maybe the human rights maybe not good, but the economy at least is successful,
Yes.
and that's because of limited foreign intervention, limited draining resources, and a lot of times, like France, a lot of countries still have to pay taxes to France, um, and they're still in massive debt. They still don't have their own currency, And like it just like after 60 years, if we're not completely free, was the system really designed for independence?
Uh, and so more on that, like, and that's why China is even able to compete with the likes of America even right now, because like America stuck their fingers into every single pot, like yo, you guys are doing that over there, I'm gonna join you, you know what I'm saying? So, and they didn't work on themselves, which is the reason why people like China, little countries like China is now able to compete and be on the same level almost with America, with China, with America. What the heck? With America. But I mean, it's insane.
I'd say China's even more powerful than America. China owns America right now. We're in debt to China, real bad.
Yes, at like trillions of dollars, man. It's completely insane. But like, I don't. Okay, so what do you think? Makunde. How do you pronounce your name? Makunde.
Yeah, Makunde.
Makunde, yeah. So what do you think could be done? Do you think ending the federation, like what do you think could be done in order to make things better? Because right now I heard people are being displaced from their homes because of the violent acts and things like that. So what do you think could be done to really like change what's going on in Cameroon?
All right. First, I'm going to talk a bit more about the impact, and then I'm going to directly answer the question.
Okay.
So, other than like over 1 million people being displaced, over 4,000 people have died since the escalation of the conflict, and like 85% of schools have been shut down, leaving 300,000 or more children out of school.
Mm-hmm.
Most recently, you may have seen on the news about the Kumba massacre, where about 7 children were killed in their own school by gunmen and 10 were injured. Definitely just going to plug it in right now. If you want to know how you can support the families, check out at Justice for Cameroon, link in our bio. And
Message me the link. I'll put it in the description whenever I put the video up. All right, continue.
Link in our bio. See how you can support the families affected. And we also have a lot of trusted NGOs that are doing good work in education, resource distribution. Soon we're going to add some more NGOs about women empowerment. We have some peace building NGOs there. So if you're interested in helping Cameroon in any sort, definitely check out the page. So yeah, there's been a lot of different effects, but I'm just going to go ahead and like a lot of people wondering what is the way forward. And honestly, people have so many different answers about that. And I think the first thing we have to do is be unified, because part of the problem on the Northwest and Southwest is that we're so disjointed. There's so many different movements and different ideologies going on, but we need to remember that in order to even get our voices heard, we need to be unified so we can get a ceasefire. I think ceasefire is a way forward to stop the violence, because this has been going on since 2016. Since I was in high school and I was hearing these stories off my mom, on the phone with my aunties talking about things that are going on.
Yeah.
And since then, they're like, oh, things might get better. And then things just kept getting worse and worse and worse. So clearly, what we've been doing has not been working.
Exactly.
And we need to find a way for peace, and then have serious talks. And then we can have those arguments about what is the best way forward, whether that's federation, whether that's complete succession, or maybe even continuing as is, but different type of restructuring of the system. Mm-hmm. Whatever needs to be done, I do agree there needs to be some type of system restructuring. So one, because I didn't even know to put this in the preface, that I mentioned the first president of Cameroon, Amadou Ahidjo. Mm-hmm. But did you know the second president of Cameroon is still in power since 1982?
Yeah, I heard about that. We talked about that last week. Which is I mean, understandably so. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of African countries are very new. You know what I'm saying? Like 60. Cameroon has just been out of independence for 60 years, but like it's still the Africa has so much potential. You know what I'm saying? But the people in power are sucking it dry, and it's not able to move into the Africa as a continent could be the powerhouse of the whole world, man. Oil, gas, natural gas. agriculture, things that can't be grown, things that America, a big country like America, has to come over here, has to come over to Africa to get. Man, we could be grown, but the people in power are not looking at what could be. They're just looking at right now, man. There's this $13 billion. Let me go ahead and get some of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get some of that. We'll worry about the future later. And it's insane. I want to and a great example of this in Nigeria last year, 36 billion naira, which is the Nigerian currency disappeared. I don't know if you heard about this. It disappeared when they asked the dude who was in charge of the money what happened to it. He said a snake swallowed it. He said this man stood up on the pulpit and actually said with confidence, a snake swallowed 36 billion. Like, how?
He is a snake.
Like,
how are you supposed to be a man in power and you over here talking about a snake is swallowing? Like, it's things like that really push Africa back. And really, a lot of it started with the fact that we were colonized. Because whenever the colonizers left us, they left cracks in society, which they themselves have built. You know what I'm saying? I know in Nigeria, a major thing that happened. I'm Igbo. There's other cultures. There's other tribes. Yoruba, Hausa. All these people. When the colonizers left, all these people started killing. They went after the Igbo people because the Igbo people, the colonizers helped us out a lot. I mean, they were not helped us out. That we were favored by the colonizers. You know what I'm saying? So it was more like that whenever the colonizers left, they were like, "Oh, y'all had the money and this." It was there was resent towards us. So the Yoruba and the Hausa started killing us. You know what I'm saying? So it's we. I don't know, man. Because
it sounds like y'all got fooled into starting a little battle between y'allself because the white man told y'all.
Yeah, you were better. Yeah, one was better than the other. Exactly, and it's insane, man. But
hey, whenever I see a Nigerian person, I can't tell if they're Yoruba or Igbo, honestly.
Nah, I don't know. It's insane, man, because Cameroon has so much language, beauty, and it's just the fact that the fact that police officers that are supposed to be watching the kids would turn around and then kill the same kids they're supposed to be watching is I'm speechless, honestly. I don't know what can be done. I don't know, man. It's insane.
So the link that you'll be sharing with us, Justice for Cameroon, that's a link where we can donate.
Yes. Yeah. It's his. Okay, that's his Instagram where there's he has like a whole bunch of information on there and things like that. I'm gonna put the link in the description, so we can because something has to be done. We can't going on like this is not gonna be helpful towards. It's not going to be helpful for the culture. It's not going to help. It's not helping anybody except for the people that are in power because they get more money from this. And this is, I don't know. I don't know, man.
Yeah. And just talking more about, I guess, like some more context about what's going on and like the other effects. So, like the economy, for example, oil is like big thing. I think cocoa's no, it's not oil. Cocoa is one of our biggest exports, I believe. But like, pretty much technology is a new oil. So any country with a booming tech industry is popping, right? So Cameroon's Silicon Mountain in 2016 was an up and coming tech scene.
Okay.
There are a lot of new companies coming in, a lot of VC funding. Like it was around Boya and I think Northwest. So yeah, there was pretty much like it was. Think about it, like if you guys are American based, like San Francisco was like that area, but the Cameroon version of it, Silicon Mountain.
Okay.
After the crisis emerged, there was only one business left standing. So think about San Francisco with all the startups, and there's only one left after something happened. That's that I had on the economy, at least in the tech wise. And then on top of this, since a lot of people left, the jobs have decreased, and then also tuition of the schools that are still open have increased by 2. So on top of like it just completely disrupted like the economy, how much people can live, but it doesn't benefit the people, but it does benefit certain people who still want this war going on. For example, some of the rebel armed separatists can levy taxes on certain villages or municipalities. So they can still get money that way, or they get their money by kidnapping and asking for ransom. So like they benefit from the war, and some of them kind of strayed from the original purpose of what the war is for. Same with the government. The government gets more control and can put more police presence in that area because of what's going on, so they can have an advantage. So like pretty much the government has not the government is strong-headed, so they don't want to talk. And the same thing with a lot of the separatists. And again, the separatists are very disjointed. So when I refer to them, I always say some or a lot, just because there's so many different groups of them with different ideals.
Sections,
but in all, the main part is to get them to talk to each other, which is the hardest part, which will get to a ceasefire. But that is one of the hardest tasks that will be very necessary in the end of this conflict.
Yeah, I don't. With everything that's going on, it's especially you would think that with like coronavirus and things like more serious, life threatening things that are going on, they will be able to put that aside and actually help. The government will be able to help or sit down and talk and be able to get the issues, but it's not. It's just I don't know. Sometimes you think about you're here and you think about like how could you possibly like you think about the people that are in power and you're like how could you possibly do this? How could you possibly do that? And you're just like you end up hurting yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, man. It's absolute like we were talking about what happened with SARS in Nigeria. I don't know if you heard about that, but like the president finally addressed the situation, even though hundreds of people were killed. He addressed it for 2 seconds. He was literally like, "Well, we're trying to get everything done about SARS," and that was it. He moved on, and then we're like, you're not even gonna apologize for the fact that hundreds of people were killed. You're gonna apologize that the fact that SARS is still in power till this day. Like I don't know. I feel like the people that are in power, the older generation, they have to step down because the fact of the matter is it is a different time. You know what I'm saying? It's a different mindset. Everything is completely. There are things that you could do in the 1980s that you cannot do in 2020. It's not. It's not 1980. It's 2020. You know what I'm saying? And we have to start, especially because African countries, Cameroon, Nigeria. We're coming out of that time where we're supposed to have everything kind of together. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed 60 years. Cameroon has been. Whenever you hit that 100-year mark, you're supposed to kind of start having your economy is supposed to be coming together. You're supposed to have some kind of plan to be able to move forward and for you people to be successful. You know what I'm saying? And that's not saying that America has been independent for I don't know I don't know American history, probably like 200 years or something like that, and they still have tons of homeless people and stuff like that, but they're still better off because they've had more time. And it's I don't know, man. I hate, and which is the reason why I'm not even all that mad that we have that America has a president like Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the first time that America has seen somebody corrupt, somebody crazy, somebody like close to like an African, kind of an African president. And and I've said this before, it's like I'm like, Donald Trump, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? Show these people that they're not everybody is smart, or because America has this thing where they put themselves on a pedestal. You know what I'm saying? They're like, we're number one. And Donald Trump just came in there like, no, we're not. We really aren't. You know what I'm saying? We get by. You know what I'm saying? But we're not all that. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm just speechless, man. It's insane. It's
Yeah,
insane.
definitely. And like I would say like one good thing about this generation is that the spread of information has changed.
Yeah.
So one, how like like European powers were able to keep their people they wanted in power was they had complete control over the media.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, the within the countries who were committing atrocities to their own people, they also had control of the media. Cameroon is one of the most media censoring. Well, behind Eritrea, ooh, I've been doing a lot of research in other countries, but
Eritrea, man, you cannot get anything about that country, bro.
yes, they do supreme media censorship, but Cameroon is up there as well. But still, things can get by because of social media. You can now share things,
Yeah.
and within one WhatsApp thread is halfway across the country and moving. Now it's going across international, and now it's on Facebook. Now it's on Instagram. Now it's on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So now things that are usually in the dark are able to be spread easier, which is a good thing, but also somewhat of a bad thing as well because there's a lot of propaganda being spread as well, which is why it's
Exactly.
always important to fact check everything you come across because people always have their own agendas in spreading a message, whether that be good or bad.
And that's
Yeah.
that's that's facts, bro. Because like exactly like you said, the same channels you can use to spread good, and the fact is that bad things or false things can spread a lot faster than truthful things. You know what I'm saying? Like like it can just it's a wildfire. People are attracted to, oh, this person's doing this person's doing that, even though it might not be true. And like even like I'll use an example, the SARS thing. This thing has been going on for like 10 years, 8 years, right? The first major incident happened in like 2012. A wife was killed by a SARS because the man didn't have any money to give him. You know what I'm saying? They stopped him on the road. He was coming back from church on a Sunday, as a matter of fact, the God's holy day, and then they were like, give us some money," and the dude didn't have any money. He was walking back to the car. They opened fire. His kids were in the car. They opened fire and they shot and killed his wife. You know what I'm saying? That was the first major incident. But none of that stuff got on because internet was what Twitter wasn't really a thing 8 9 years ago. You know what I'm saying? The only reason why it became a thing, the only reason why SARS became as like popular as it did now is because of things like Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat. Things like not Snapchat. Snapchat did is what did doing nothing.
I
Um,
was
yeah, like do and it's with the with the like the common Spider-Man phrase, with great power comes great responsibility. You know what I'm saying? With a great following, you want to give factual information. Um, but with that, it's also easy to just make up something and put it out there, knowing that this is gonna get some traction and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know. You got anything to say, Maurice?
I mean, yeah, with social media, that's a good thing that it's around because we get a lot of insight into what's going on around the world that we may not have been able to get back in times like you were saying things were way different in the 80s. Now we can see something the moment it gets uploaded that people can be made aware. But just like Makunde was saying, we could also get influenced by a lot of propaganda that gets shared by everybody. Like as you can see with this presidential election here that's going on right now. As soon as Trump said, "Hey, these polls are all fraud. Stop the counting," all these crazy Trump supporters jumped up and were like, "Hey, there's fraud. Stop the counting. They're up at the polls. These poll workers are devoting their time that they don't have to devote, but they're devoting their time to make sure that we have a good democratic process." But propaganda gets dropped and that democratic process gets threatened.
All right. Yeah, that's true. But I pray everything works out. I just pray that things progress in a positive way for Cameroon because it cannot continue the way it's going on. With that, I want to segue into. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we go move on to the next topic, Makunde? Got like 15 minutes here.
yeah, I'll just plug in some ways you can help. So definitely, like, one, if you're American based, there's this thing called Resolution 684, and that link will be in the description that he provides. I'll definitely send you that website. Call your senator or send them an email. There's a website where it makes it easy for you to do that, for them to endorse it, which is basically calling for a ceasefire in Cameroon. Another way you can help is by, of course, following Justice for Cameroon, reposting and tagging our content so more people are more aware of what's going on and getting some factual information. And lastly, I would say donate if you can to NGOs that are helping on the ground, who help a lot of there's a lot of refugees in Nigeria. There's a lot of refugees, internally displaced people who go to other parts of Cameroon. There are a lot of things we need for education, a lot of things for economy. So we have all those. If you're interested in donating, check out our link.
And that's one thing. Before we move on really quickly, I was reading this story. Somebody sent me this story. There was this man. He's an Anglophone. Actually, he escaped. He was able to escape Cameroon. But because Donald Trump is in power, a lot of the people that are supposed to be able to get, you know what I'm talking about, get filed for asylum are not getting what they're supposed to get. So the dude filed for asylum, and this man is like under, like you were saying, under death threats, you know what I'm saying? Like, he could die if he goes back home. He filed for asylum and he didn't get it. You know what I'm saying? Which is like the Cameroon thing is a known thing. That's insane. But no, okay. The last.
Wait, I just want to add another plug. Yeah. So, like, there's another Instagram page that's similar to mine. It's called Ashia Know They Help. And in Cameroon, you know what that means. Ashia is like what we say to people who is like sorry or like, you know, something bad, like Ashia.
Okay.
So the name is Ashia Know They Help. There's also I have a slide of who you can call in order to help Cameroon refugees, because they are trying to deport Cameroon refugees in America. And the number is 202-224-3121. And pretty much just ask them to halt the deportation of the Cameroonians currently in the detention center in the state. So
send me all this information, man, so I can remember to put it in the put it in the description. All right, the last thing I want to talk about for the last 15 minutes of this is the election that is going on in this country, bro. It is like nothing we have, as long as I've been aware of elections, is like nothing I've ever seen before. You know what I'm saying? This dude Trump, man, he is wild, bro. I think he was leading. It was like 180 something to 214 electoral college votes, and he was like, you know what? Let's stop. You know what I'm saying? Let's stop getting the votes. That's enough. You already see I'm in the lead. You know what I'm saying? And then he's actually going to go file in the Supreme Court for them to stop the thing. On his way there, Joe Biden takes the lead. He's like, wait a minute, what do you, how, you know what I'm saying? And then so he goes to Twitter with his little orange hands. He goes to Twitter and he's like oh, it's surprising how I was leading 10 seconds ago, but now I'm not leading. This man, this
yeah, I mean, I don't know who's expected more from him, obviously, after his past behaviors.
True, that's true.
You know, show me how you've acted in the past, and I'll tell you how you'll act in the future.
That's true.
My mom says, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. You know, and this man just repeatedly just keeps saying things and doing things that just keeps evoking terrible reactions from the citizens of America, whether it be from one side or the other. He's an inflammatory figure, and he doesn't seem to care what effects it has on America as a whole. He only cares about getting his way. And I'm only saying that based off what I see from him. I'm not trying to drop any biased opinions. Mm-hmm. I'm going off of solely what I see from Donald Trump himself. He's selfish.
I think the thing is, he knows how inflammatory he is. You know what I'm saying? But he does that because he knows that the way. I mean, I think that's naturally how he thinks, right? But I think he's like, let's see how we can take this to the next level. Let's see how we can tick off more people, incite more of a reaction. And have you ever heard of a president using Twitter? The fact that they haven't taken that away from him, he's like a 10-year-old that just got Wi-Fi for the first time, man. It's absolutely insane, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter age kind of came around to Obama, so that's really new. Obama used Twitter for a little bit, but the way he uses it, it's pretty annoying and disgusting.
Bro, I'm telling you that this man, if we ever get attacked, this man would announce a nuclear attack on Twitter. He's like, "Hey guys, just checking in. Just want to let y'all know, we about to get attacked. You know what I'm saying? Y'all should probably like, it's inappropriate and ridiculous. It's unprofessional. It's insane. There's no reason he he shouldn't be. I don't know. He shouldn't have been in power in the first place.
And the reason why there's also a lot of different important elections going on across Africa and across the world. So we touch on those too.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why Donald Trump was so dangerous in 2016 was because of how he did talk. Like to you and me, we're like, this guy's ridiculous. This is crazy. Like, what's wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
But to a lot of mostly like white Americans are like, I've been waiting for this for so long.
Yeah.
I've been having to hide my feelings, and now somebody who's like out there with his best. Like, notice how he could not. What was that? That he could not condemn white supremacy during the debates because he knows that, okay, yes, this is the sensible thing to do, but at the same time, a lot of my supporters are racist. Like, let's be real with it. Like, he needs, like, that's why he's dangerously powerful, because he's not very intelligent, but the way he speaks incites so many people because those are their inner deep dark thoughts that are just waiting for somebody to say. That's why he's so dangerous. That's why I'm happy that Biden, he looks like Biden's in the lead. So I'll cross my fingers and hope Nevada stays blue, because another 4 years of Donald Trump will be but it also gives, like, I just want to give a little converse. It also makes you think about African countries as well. And, like, think about if Donald Trump was a ruler of an African nation, definitely during the BLM protest, he would have just let it loose. He would have let it loose. I know that for certain. And he would definitely try to do a lot of corruption to stay in power. But because there's so many checks and balances in America, he's only able to do his 4 years of tyranny, and then he has to bounce, or perhaps 8 years if we're unlucky. Let's hope not. However, in other countries, like there's Guinea and Cote d'Ivoire, they both have elections this year, and both of their presidents are running for a third term when the Constitution only says they only have 2 terms. So they switched up the Constitution so they can run a third term, and they both have election violence at this moment. I think I forgot his name, but President of Cote d'Ivoire, I think he won. So I think now he's going to be doing his third term when he's only supposed to have 2, which is crazy. Same thing is happening in Tanzania. I think it's a second, but it's highly contested. Like, a lot of these, there's not a lot of checks and balances in the system, because I feel like they try to design the system in very similar to like the French or English way, but it's not really meant for their type of government. I feel like there needs to be a lot of restructuring around African systems to better fit them and better fit the president's role, so they're not pretty much a totalitarian. They're actually part of a democracy, or even democracy isn't the right thing for those nations, but something that fits and serves the people.
And the crazy thing is that a lot of the African nations are supposed to be democratic, but they're actually not. Like Nigeria is supposed to be a republic democratic or something like that. But but the thing about democratic things in Africa is that all of that stuff can be, all the votes, all the stuff can be faked. And they will be faked. You know what I'm saying? Because they will take their time on counting 100,000 yeses for this president because somebody has slipped them $1 million or something like that. And it's absolutely insane. Like, there's actually a controversy going on in Ghana right now. There's elections going on in Ghana, and I don't know if you know the musician Sarkodie. Okay? So he's a Ghanaian rapper. This dude has won BET awards and things like that. So he's very prominent, very well known. And so he released a new song called Happy Day. And the reason why it's controversial is that people are saying that a politician paid him $500,000 to talk good things about him in the song. So I have a YouTube channel where I react to songs and stuff like that. And somebody hit me up, was like, "Yo, dude, you have to react to this because in the song he's talking about, he's using the presidents, right? He's using his quote. He's saying that he'll give you he'll give you free education. He'll give the kids free education, stuff like that. And I'm just like, because like again, it's gotten to the he's kind of like the Jay-Z or I don't know, the Eminem of Africa. You know, it's somebody that you look to and be like, this person will be able to tell me, right and wrong. He'll be able to, he's been successful, so he'll be able to tell me what to do. You know what I'm saying? So it was crazy when I was listening to it. I was like, wow, he's really doing all this for money, man. And I don't know, man. Africa, America is in shambles. Hopefully Joe Biden wins because I know for a fact because Macy's and all these places, at least in Houston, in Texas, have boarded up. They're like, we are not gonna do this because I know for a fact if Donald Trump wins, there will be protests. Will I be a part of it? No, you guys don't need to know. But what I need, but um, like there will be protests, man, and I feel like I low key feel like Donald Trump has his own plans. Like I feel like if he doesn't leave, I mean if he doesn't win, I feel like he has a secondary plan, man. Because the one he was talking, like you've seen, I don't know if you've seen Donald Trump's speeches. He's usually very like erratic and like out there. When he was talking in the press, he's like he was quiet, he was composed. He was like, "We got this." I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Now Donald Trump being like composed and the way presidential for once, there's something.
Mhm.
There's something there. There's something there. I don't know. I don't know,
Yeah.
man.
I'll tell you a story. 2016, when Donald Trump got elected, I was in high school.
Yeah.
Um,
Wait, how old are
and
you?
21.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, continue.
So I go to like a very multicultural high school. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's really an event with